All right, folks, we are here at MGM Grand National Harbor at the Gala here. Of course, Leaders and Legends, National Minority Supplier Development Council, the Capital Region. And so we are here for this awards. There are a number of people who are being honored. Lieutenant Governor Boyd Rutherford of Maryland, also Marilyn Mosby, the state's attorney. She's one of the honorees as well. And so in a moment, we'll be talking with both of them. Right now, though, I want to chat with a woman who leads the CRMSDC here. How you doing?
Okay, how are you?
I'm doing great. Let everybody know who you are.
Well, I'll tell them, just in case. I'm Sharon, Pinder, President and CEO of the Capital Region Minority Supply Development Council.
All right, so folks who don't know, what does the National Minority Supply Development Council do?
Okay, for the last 47 years, it's been the premier organization in the country that certifies minority businesses for the supply chain of corporate members in this country.
And so when we talk about that, I mean, what does that impact on African Americans?
Well, let's talk about why it was even created. Created on the heels of the civil unrest of the 60s, and it was the thought there was to make the private sector accountable for its minority spend. Because you hear about government contracts and some of that is done by regulations, et cetera, but it was a way of being able to penetrate corporate spend.
And so what we're looking at now is that y'all have been, frankly, fighting for your survival, though. Especially with this administration, folks trying to cut it out of the budget.
Yeah, particularly our council also has 2 MBDA centers. We have the only federally funded federal procurement center in the country. We also have the MBDA Center for Washington, D.C. And those funds were threatened. And we spend a lot of time on the Hill in terms of making the case for that.
And one of the things that people don't realize is that when we talk about being able to access these federal contracts, African Americans have been shut out for a long time in corporate America. And so when you look at black businesses, they have been able to, frankly, grow and thrive largely being able to access federal, state, county, and city contracts.
Absolutely. And quite frankly, if you look at the programs, it was built on the backs of blacks. And unfortunately, you know, I'm talking 47 years later, the issues are still the same, the problems are still the same, but now the pie is divided and double divided for other ethnic minorities.
And so, moving forward, I mean, what should our audience, what should they be talking about, what should they be focusing on, what help do you need from them when it comes to this particular issue,
you know,
and trying to make sure that Supply Development Council is still around?
And unfortunately, we're still having the conversation, and that's why it's still viable. But I think the difference is going to be the fact that the numbers are now switched. When we look across America and we look at the changing and the minority population becoming the majority, and you look at particularly African American women are the fastest growing segment in terms of entrepreneurship,
right?
Then you're going to have to do something about the numbers. And so often people don't pay attention until it impacts them. And so if it has that economic impact, because our businesses have to survive in order to be contributing to our economy, then we have to pay attention to begin to support those businesses now for the future.
All right, then. How can folks reach out to you if they, let's say, so first of all, are businesses a part of the council? Do they become members? How do they get involved?
The council, all across the country, I'm one of 23 across the country. We are individual 501c3s, and so the members are our corporate members. But in this market, you know, we have federal, state, and local government as well. And suppliers, which are minority businesses, are a part of it in terms of from that perspective, but it's primarily made up of those corporations. All
right. Well, actually, I'm going to be in Atlanta in a couple of weeks doing an event there.
I heard you were. I saw that.
Yep,
and so that's our national conference, and so we're looking forward to that as well. All
right. Well, we certainly appreciate it. And, of course, you have the Leaders and Legends Gala here, and, of course, there are a number of honorees here. Mm-hmm. And so why is it important to also represent them, showcase them to this audience?
We have the top 100 Minority Business Awards, the only one of its kind in this region, I can tell you. And the reason we do it is that when I started it 12 years ago, people would say to me, well, where are these businesses you're talking about that you advocate? We have such pride around the accomplishments of our businesses. And so they are no longer, you can no longer relegate them to mom and pop. We have very successful businesses with revenues ranging from less than $1 million to over $50 million. And so we celebrate them tonight.
All right. Well, look, we're looking forward to it. Glad to be here. I would appreciate it. I know I'm about to chat with, I think, Marilyn Mosby next, or the Lieutenant Governor. And so, about to get this show started in a few minutes.
We look forward to seeing you in the theater.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.